feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this path from seeing to believing. Got a taste of blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go healing. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
All right, welcome back to the channel. Okay, after taking apart that motor, seeing what happened to it, talking to a few buddies of mine, and they talked me into what you see here. So if you remember from the past episodes, we took this, all we did was re-ring it, put new bearings in it, check all the parts, rehone the cylinders, checked all the clearances, put new rod bearings, new crank bearings, checked everything, and we were just gonna send it and just use this as a temporary fix until we can rebuild that motor to a more, no, it's not a word, to a better specification, more of a race spec, you know, fully blueprinted, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But then again, I was like, shoot, if we're gonna flog this motor for a little while, I want it to live a little bit longer. And we saw how the factory components just did not play nice with high RPMs and a little bit of abuse. A little bit of abuse. So my buddies talked me into this setup. I didn't want to spend a lot of money. That's the whole point of this budget build, is not to spend a lot of money. That's why we went to components like the reground camshaft, which is still good shape, so I'm glad. But we're gonna get more into this later on at a later date. I got us a little surprise for you, maybe, we'll see. But I'm a cheap bastard, I'm a cheap monkey. I don't want to spend a lot of money on stuff that I know that's probably thrown together and all that kind of stuff. But I said to myself, what can we get away with? What can we possibly get away with? So started scouring around the interweb and started talking to other people, and this is the cheapest combination I could possibly come up with that, how would I call it? Instead of reconditioning rods and doing all this other stuff, you know, buy new components. According to these manufacturers and through friends and all that stuff who've used this stuff before, this is the best combination. I keep on saying that, but this is the best combination that I could possibly think about that offers quality, durability, and can take a little bit of a beating for not a lot of money. I'm talking about not a lot of money, which is, this is crazy. Let's just start with the pistons. D.S.S Racing Forged Pistons. These are the cheapest forged pistons that I could possibly think about. It's the E series, so don't get too crazy here. But forged pistons at cast piston prices. These are better than the hyper-eutectic stuff that you're gonna get, like, which is the factory piston. Now, and as far as weight and all that kind of stuff, we'll get into all that later on. Trust me, of the difference between the weight of this. Let's go. Yep, drop the mic. And the difference between this. And if you noticed, They are a short style piston, more of the modern style, obviously. Junk. Built in the USA, according to their website and the people I talked to. Oops, let's not gal that area. And will take a beating. The next on the hit list, I had a laugh, is, and I'll post, I got all the stuff from Summit Racing. I'll post the information on what Summit costs, what you can get on Amazon, all that kind of stuff. But for the Ford guys, going back to these pistons, the Ford guys know these pistons really well. So now, these are the cheapest rods that I could think about that offer strength, durability, quality, and price. These were $300 and something. Yes, $300. On most websites, you're going to see these as $414. But if you go to Speedmaster's website, it says $313 or $331 or something. I'll put it someplace in here. Summit Racing matched their price. So I got everything from Summit Racing. Here's the box. Speedmaster, since established 1979. We're gonna check these and see if they're any good. I mean, from what I understand from the community out there, these are pretty decent. Does it have a part number? Yes, part number. Small Block Chevy. This is a standard 5.7 rod, 2.1 inch journal, standard shit. Bronze bushing for full floating pistons, and that's another key thing I want to get into. Part number PCE 274-1023. Now be careful out there. and I'll get into more detail when ordering rods from this company. They have a lot of these rods. A lot of them have different specifications on the big end and on the small end. So you have to make sure that it's compatible, because what are we hanging these on? Yes, you heard it. The stock factory crank. We'll get into that again too in a later video. The part number I just gave you, hopefully that comes in. I'll list it down below. So yeah, rethinking the plan. Goddamn mic. So yeah, rethinking this whole plan, this cheap ghetto budget build setup. Super cheap to do. I mean, including the rings, cheap sealed power rings. The reason why I didn't go with a more expensive rings is, remember, this is a factory bore. You know, we did the jingle ball, hone system on here. So we want a set of rings that will conform to a cylinder wall that is pretty good, but not optimal as far as like fully machined or so, because we are not doing any machining. We are sticking these bad boys in the stock bore. Boom. We'll get into all of that stuff later on and get into all of that stuff. Yes, you all gonna think I'm fucking batshit, but done this a million times. It always works. Also, stay tuned for all the details, reviews of these items. We're gonna get into really deep, boring stuff, showing you every nook and cranny of these pistons and the rods. It lasts a long time, and you don't have to spend a lot of money, even though the manufacturers say, yes, you got to spend a lot of money. I mean, I'm telling you guys, there's ways around everything, especially in this economy. So, yes, enjoy Mad Madness, and look for this tear down and rebuild once again, rethinking the whole thing. Yeah, stay tuned.